All right, first review on the new branded channel, and it's not even a review of a standalone movie. I figured to kick things off, I would do something I enjoy and something that I'm familiar with. So what I'm going to do is another ranked video, and I'm going to rank the films of the Jurassic series from my least favorite to my favorite. And spoilers, this series contains one of my favorite movies of all time. Gee, I wonder which spot on the list it's going to end up in. This is like the only bit of Jurassic Park merch I own for being one of my favorite movies. I mean, sure, when I was a kid, I had a bunch of it. You know, the toys, the books, the comics. They made comics out of Jurassic Park back then? Probably they made comics out of everything. They still do. Regardless, this is all I really have for Jurassic Park merch these days. And it's Papasaurus, because obviously. But anyways, let's start ranking these movies. Number 5. Easily the weakest entry in the series. It was the first original screenplay in the series, since the first two films were based off of their respective books, and it didn't come across as very ambitious. Sure, we got some new dinosaurs like the pterodons and the Spinosaurus, but the story itself just felt lackluster the entire way through. It was great to get Alan Grant back after his absence from the Lost World, but I really feel like he was a bit underutilized. Having him get suckered into a rescue mission under the guise of a guided tour over one of the most dangerous islands on the planet might have seemed like a good idea on paper, but came across a bit dull in execution. The additional actors were great. Téa Leoni and William H. Macy were great choices to have, and their performances honestly are one of the most standout things in the movie and are one of the main reasons I can still watch this movie today. To talk a little bit about a few plot specifics, I do find it a little hard to believe that a kid could survive on this island on his own for any period of time, so a little bit of suspension of disbelief is required. I mean, more so than the fact this is a world where dinosaurs have been brought back to life. And while the Spinosaurus was cool, having it kill the T-Rex in like the first third of the movie was a huge disservice to fans. I mean, it's fine now because Jurassic World more or less course corrected that, but at the time it was a huge letdown. No, it's still a letdown when I watch it today. Stupid Spinosaurus. I mean, the runtime was also telling. I'm not sure why, but anytime a huge like blockbuster adventure movie has a runtime of less than 2 hours, I immediately assume it's going to be kind of meh. I mean, it isn't always the case, but when it comes to Jurassic Park 3, those feelings were spot on. Number 4. This entry and the next one were really hard to kind of place, but I ultimately gave the edge to Spielberg's entry, regardless of his ending. We'll get there. And don't get me wrong, I still enjoy the heck out of Fallen Kingdom, but it's hard to deny that the movie feels like two completely separate movies sort of mashed together, and it's just jarring. Honestly, if we were just talking about like the first half of the movie, I probably would have put it at like number 2. That half of the movie is filled with some great set pieces and great action-filled moments, from Claire and the nerdy guy in the bunker getting attacked by the dinosaur, to, of course, the erupting volcano sequence, which is freaking awesome to see. It even remains quite entertaining when they're trapped in the cargo container with the sleeping T-Rex and have to, are they dosing him? No, they're taking his blood. Like, that's an awesome scene. That was filled with tension and super cool. The second half of the movie leans way more into being a horror movie, and while it is expertly executed, it just feels, well, like I said, a bit jarring. This was expected, though, considering the director was known for movies like The Orphanage and When a Monster Calls, and his style completely shines on the screen. I just don't think it was the best fit for a Jurassic movie. In terms of the story, though, it's hard to deny that the situation with them auctioning off dinosaurs would happen. That's what I really like about Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom, and hopefully Dominion, is that they took the idea of Jurassic Park and they evolved it in a really smart way, something that Jurassic Park 3 just didn't do. And don't get me started on the poor Brontosaurus. That scene always makes me tear up. Shut up, you're crying. Number 3. When it first came out, The Lost World was incredible. A sequel to my favorite movie, it was going to be awesome no matter what, especially since Spielberg was back to direct. And it was awesome at the time. I feel like out of all the Jurassic Park movies, The Lost World has sort of aged like milk. That might be a bit harsh. Maybe it's aged more like cheap wine. No, no, that would still make it better. Whatever. What I'm trying to say is that The Lost World lost its appeal as time went on, and now it's just sort of okay. That sounds pretty bad. Better explain why it's so far up on the list. I think, since The Lost World was actually based on a sequel novel that Michael Crichton wrote, it has a certain quality to it that none of the other movies, Lost World, Fallen Kingdom, or Jurassic Park III, really have. And much like the Jurassic World set of movies have evolved the storyline on their own, Crichton did that himself first. The park had failed, and essentially the investors were trying to recoup their losses, and through what they were doing, sort of brought poachers out of the woodwork as well as the word of real dinosaurs got out. It all felt very organic. Of course, having Jeff Goldblum back as Ian Malcolm was great, and the addition of Julianne Moore and especially Vince Vaughn was super entertaining, getting to see these new characters react to the presence of dinosaurs in their world. And while it's not so split right down the middle like Fallen Kingdom, I guess it's more of like a 70-30 split, but Spielberg's decision to have the ending that he has with the T-Rex roaming the streets of San Francisco, it made me roll my eyes back in 1997, and it still does today. Oh, I get it. They wanted to show the cause and effect of having dinosaurs roaming the mainland. I guess my actual problem when I really think about it is that ending felt rushed more than anything. I feel like with the groundwork that's been laid out with the World Series, Dominion is going to do that subject matter much better. Also, the ending wasn't in the book. It was something completely created for the movie, so it doesn't feel like it fits tonally with the rest of the movie. Does that make sense? Number 2. I can put this movie on anytime and I am thoroughly entertained. I've already mentioned that this felt like the natural, organic evolution of what would happen in a world where Jurassic Park exists. Or existed. People probably would try again, and with the advancements in technology that we've had, the park would be much safer, and this would lead to stuff like branding, similar to Disney World or other similar places like that. The movie probably could have just had that as its premise, with the inevitable fallout from the dinosaurs, because it's a Jurassic movie, there's gotta be dinos eating people. And that would have been fine with me. Enough time had passed in real life. I think, was this movie 2015? And I believe Jurassic Park 3 came out in like 01, 02, or 03, around there. But it went one step further with the creation of the Indominus Rex, and that even made perfect sense. Park attendance is down, let's give people a new reason to come. Make me a dinosaur. That sounds logical, especially for the world we live in. And you have to love Chris Pratt's line when he says, "They're dinosaurs. Wow enough." That just speaks to how boring incredible things become with people and how quickly. This is all your fault. Shame on you. I will admit, when I first saw the poster for the movie, I think even before, well, obviously before the first trailer came out, the poster with Chris Pratt on the motorcycle riding with the raptors running beside him, when I saw that, I thought, no, absolutely not. This movie is going to be ridiculous and lame and completely tarnish the Jurassic Park brand in my mind. But they took the time to flesh that out and explain why a scene like that, when it does happen, makes sense. Raising the raptors from babies helped convince me that his bond with Blue made sense. If you've ever owned an animal, you get that. And the scene didn't last long anyway. Raptors got a new alpha. Love that scene. Jurassic World is a great blockbuster, and it's one of the rare occasions where a reboot/sequel didn't do any disservice to the original movie. And it corrected the death of the T-Rex from Jurassic Park III by having the T-Rex in this movie demolish the Indominus Rex. Loved it. Number 1. Obviously. I'll see you next time. Okay. But what can I really say? The fact that this movie from 1993 still holds up today is a huge testament to everyone involved in making it. I remember flipping through the production book that I have. It was like this nice hardcover book that had a whole bunch of information about the actual production of the movie and everybody involved, and everything from San Winston Studios and the creation of the dinosaurs to one of the first, I think, mainstream uses of computer-generated graphics. It still stands up today. Sure, there are some wider shots, like the first time Dr. Grant sees the Brontosaurus, Brachiosaurus. Haha. I said Brontosaurus earlier in terms of Fallen Kingdom. Pretty sure it was a Brachiosaurus. It's okay, I will hand in my president of the Jurassic Park fan club. I don't actually have that. But that wide shot when Grant first sees the Brachiosaurus, sure. By today's standards, that digital shot can look a little iffy. But if iffy is the worst atrocity this movie is committing, how many years on? That's fine by me. The movie blew my little 9-year-old mind when I saw it in theaters on opening day, June 11th, 1993. Just a little history on me, like I was obsessed with dinosaurs. Obviously this movie was going to speak to me. On the side of my grandparents' like driveway, there was this sort of gravel area, and I remember digging through there one day, and I found a bone. It was probably like a pork chop bone or something, but I didn't know that at the time, and I became so obsessed with that. Like, it's a dinosaur bone! It's a dinosaur bone! I don't know why, but my first reaction was to go down to the corner store and try to find some sort of information. 9-year-old Matt didn't think to go to the library. Nope, corner store. Anyways, on the shelf, I found this magazine, and it was just called Dinosaurs. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this, but there was a ton of these magazines. I think they came out once a month. They were just called Dinosaurs, like an exclamation point. Every issue you got, I ended up getting a subscription. Had to. I think I convinced my parents to do it. Every issue came with one like fossil, like a glow-in-the-dark fossil to size. And by the end of the year, you'd put them all together and you'd have a full skeleton of a dinosaur. And then you could get binders that you would put these magazines in. And I think every binder probably held, I don't know, I want to say 12 if it was a year. I feel like it was more, but I had 12 of these binders full of these magazines. I was obsessed with dinosaurs. I mean, I still probably kind of am, just in a more reserved, mature way. You're right. Sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent. The bottom line is that a live-action dinosaur movie was the best thing that had ever happened to 9-year-old Matt. And it's awesome that it's still so watchable today. It's a great adventure movie that's incredibly paced, and it has a perfect balance of action and scares, and it's immensely quotable. What do they got in there, King Kong? I hate being right all the time. Welcome to Jurassic Park. After careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park. So have I. Well, we're back in the car again. At least you're out of that tree. Yeah, but John, if Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists. I really do hate that man. God creates dinosaurs. God destroys dinosaurs. God creates man. Man destroys God. Man creates dinosaurs. Dinosaurs eat man. Women inherit the earth. Na 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 na. You get it. I like Jurassic Park. It's a classic as far as I'm concerned. Probably the best movie that will ever exist in my lifetime. If you haven't seen it, go watch it, obviously. Now I'm very excited for Dominion, if it ever comes out. Damn you, COVID! And I'm really looking forward to seeing the original 3 cast members, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, teaming up with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Almost! I think it's going to be really good, and Colin Trevorrow is back to direct. He directed Jurassic World. So I'm pretty confident in saying that had I waited till it came out, it's probably going to be number 3. Unless it's a bomb, then it'll be number 6. It could be really good, but it's never going to be better than number 1, so maybe number 2. So what about you? Do you agree with my list, or what would you change? Let me know in the comments below. I'm super curious. Favorite movie series, probably. Favorite movie series. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. You get it. I like Jurassic Park. It's a classic as far as I'm concerned. And if you haven't seen it, oh!